Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Black Belt Beauty Radio. Guys, today I want to talk to you about this concept that I've been thinking about from an experience recently, which is self-bullying. I've actually never heard that before, so I'm not going to say that I'm the originator of it, but I've actually never heard it before. You hear a lot of things like the inner critic and, disempowered script. I mean, these are things that I talk about all the time, but like actual self-bullying, this came to me because, back up a couple weeks ago, and I put this in my BBB Insider. If you're not signed up to my email tribe, I will have a link in the show notes for you to be able to jump in. I am not, just to say this really quick, I come at you only when it's important, in your inbox. And the BBB Insider is, you can also call it a newsletter, but that's just a little boring to me. It's an email that you get every month as being in my email tribe. And it's a bunch of things. It's a message from me. It has 2 podcast episodes I always play back in that email. And then a thought I love and a thing I love. So just to get that out of the way. Because in the self-bullying situation came to me, I shared this in October's BBB Insider email, and it stemmed from this one morning where I was running behind to go to my favorite yoga class, hot yoga class, 28 postures, just a really incredible class with a really just fucking badass instructor. He's my favorite instructor. And I was working on my computer, and I ended up going over time-wise to where then I didn't have time to put in fuel in my body. So then I was literally drinking my protein shake on the way there, parked my car, finished it. That's just not, you don't want to have food digesting when you're getting into movement. Walking is different, but I'm moving into hot yoga. It's not the great, best time when you're in downward dog and, camel pose and you're trying to digest. And then I know better. That's the thing, So what happens is I'm irritated with myself, right? Because I fucking know better. And it's like, oh, really? What's so interesting is, disempowered scripts, self-talk that is disempowering, it's easy to capture that, because you can hear your thoughts, right? The words, or maybe it's even how you're saying something out loud, whatever. But just internally, that focus right now it's a lot easier because you can hear yourself saying something that's a low vibe, that's a low frequency, that's disempowering. Self-bullying in this regard, like from my circumstance in that moment, what was so interesting is that I was energetically bullying myself. So I didn't have some kind of, I wasn't saying to myself, Roxanne, you fucking know better, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't like that. But energetically, within the first 15 minutes, like I was bullying myself energetically. 15 minutes later in class, my self-awareness, which is why I always talk about self-awareness is the greatest agent for change, for growth, self-development. You will never, ever be able to grow in your most ideal state, to express yourself at the highest level, if you do not have strong levels of self-awareness. This is why it is always a part of the conversation for me. It's massive. I've done podcast episodes about it. It's rooted in my coaching for a great reason, and it will continue to come up in conversation because it's so important. And in this particular situation for me, I'm 15 minutes in, my self-awareness kicks in because what happens for me is that I have such a relationship with harmony. Harmony is a core value of mine, right? So 15 minutes in, I can feel, hey, wait a second. Like I call it the harmony alarm. Why the fuck, I don't feel, something feels off right now, right? I was able to pick up in that moment, hey, you're being an asshole to yourself. energetically. Again, I didn't hear any words of me saying, I was putting myself down or anything like that. Energetically inside, though, I was very constricted. I felt rigid. I was frustrated. I was totally frustrated, right? And look, I'm not saying like emotions are emotions. They come in at times for great reasons. I'm not trying to, have pushback around like, you should never feel this way. I am saying this, though. To be in a state where you're energetically or in any which way bullying yourself is not a fucking healthy place. It's not good for us, right? It will happen to all of us, obviously. It's just not where you want to hang out, So self-awareness comes in and I'm like, oh, I didn't actually do that in class, but it was this moment where I was like, oh no, yeah, we're gonna transmute this energy now. Because I found that what was also a trigger for me to realize it is that I wasn't present. I was kind of dipping in and out of my breath and of the flow, of the movement. And so that also is what, brought to my awareness that, hey, you're not in harmony right now. What's fucking going on? And then I was like, oh shit, you're energetically being an asshole to yourself. So why I wanted to talk about this in this episode is because I'm sure that all of you feel this at times, or if you weren't aware of it, now you are. That a lot of the information that I share, that I coach on even, a lot of times it's just bringing you into awareness of things, right? It's to become conscious of it. And then that's when the real work starts, right? So, the invitation that I wanted to bring into this episode right now is for you to take an energetic stock of yourself. Like, where are you right now? What's your mind saying to you? What's your energy saying to you? What's your heart saying to you? What's your body saying to you? Your body, listen, I say this often, it's such a big piece of the conversation for me because we live in a physical world. We have a physical body for a reason because we live in a physical fucking world. Health to me, yeah, it's important. I mean, we all know that, right? Who wants to be unhealthy? Fucking no one, right? But health to me is also like, it could be kind of this thing where it's like, oh, I want to be healthy so that I'm just avoiding, non-healthy situations, disease and, ailments and what have you, all that stuff, right? I'm more focused on vitality. Vitality to me is such a fucking different frequency. It's health, absolutely. It's health for sure, like solid fucking health. But it's also that you are more potent. You are more effective. You are more magnetic. You are more inspired. You are more intuitive, right? So it's a lot more bang for your buck, than just being healthy. So if you are curating your lifestyle to be focused around vitality, not just health, but vitality, your behaviors, your actions, the habits, like everything's setting you up to be your most potent, magnetic, high vibing fucking self. Number one, you will be fucking healthy. But number two, you're just going to be functioning, operating, and feeling at a much higher level, like at a much higher frequency. And that is just so sexy to me, So kind of went on a tear there, or just took us into the weeds. That's fine. That happens here. But just to go back to this energetic check-in, taking stock, going into your body, feeling right now where you're at and noticing, is there anything within you right now that you're gripping too tight, where you're being mean to yourself, where you're frustrated, and listen, everyone's going to be fucking where you are, right? You could be going through some real hardcore shit in your life right now. And if that is you, my heart is holding fucking space for you. So I know I won't be able to obviously, address where everybody's at right now. But what I want to anchor you in is this. I want to anchor you into this practice of just checking in with yourself energetically. There are tools. If you are in a state where you feel like shit, or maybe it's not that dramatic, maybe you're just frustrated or you're sad or anything that's really a low frequency, there are obviously so many different tools that you can turn to support yourself, to move up in frequency. It's what we want to do, right? It's all a frequency game. Everything in life is energy, right? You are a frequency, right? So when you feel low, you are operating at a lower frequency. When you feel high, you're operating at a higher frequency. And the goal is, how do we sustain this higher frequency of ourselves? And how do we move through our life with more continual high frequency energy? That's really the goal. That's the goal for me, right? Because again, when we are operating from this high frequency, we are more creative, we're more intuitive, we're more powerful and potent. I mean, we're more magnetic. We call in experiences that we want to be calling into, right? And this is also why, health, vitality for me is so important, because when you think about, like, if your body, your physical body is not operating as optimally as it could be by way of health, it's going to be a lot harder to actually tune into your intuition. Let's just focus on that for a second. That I know I've always been a very introspective individual. So from the very beginning years of my life, I've been going inward, deep diving inward. And then I started writing at a very young age, which took it all to another level, because now I'm really in fucking conversation with myself. Not just in my head, but like it's tangible. I can read it back. I can learn from it, right? I could take deeper dives into myself because of, my practice, my, ritual around journaling, which is why, I'm such an advocate for journaling. It's such a powerful self-development, self-actualization tool, right? When you are able to feel healthier, when you are healthier, when you are operating with more vitality, you are going to be able to tune into your intuition more. In the years where, I was not as healthy, for those of you who don't know, I in my late teens, I blew out my knee in Taekwondo. I'm just fast forwarding a story. I've shared a lot actually on the podcast, but, I would then, have to go in and out of 3 surgeries, so back to back for a couple of years. And during that time, I was an athlete, super fit body composition. Now all of a sudden, in a bed, put on Vicodin, which I fucking hated. It was disgusting. But I was just following along with the protocol, like do this, do that. And I was on the American diet for the most part. So I gained all this weight, and I felt like shit. And in hindsight, like, it's the catalyst that would show me one of the greatest passions of my life, which is health optimization, this whole holistic approach to high performance living, right? But in those years where, I got hit with all that shit, that was hard, man. And, in the trying to figure out how to get back to homeostasis and, crack the code, as I like to say, to get back into my optimal body composition and, health, really, it was just hard. And I was still very intuitive, but my ability to just execute on my intuition was not the same as when I got healthier. So when I say this to you, trust me, I'm literally speaking from fucking knowing energy, not just theory. It's not an idea. It's a fucking hardcore fact. And when you think about it, you guys, doesn't it make sense? Let's pull logic in here. Doesn't it make sense that if you are less toxic and you are more optimized, your cells are happy, your mitochondria, these are the power plants that create the energy in your body, are functioning at more optimal levels? Doesn't it make sense that you are going to have more access to your intuition? Of course you are. You're fucking nature. We're all nature. We're all connected to this thing. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? There is no separation. That's all like some man shit. Like, you know what I mean? Not like man as in like the, gender, but just, there was separation created as if we are separate from nature. We are not separate from nature. We are fucking nature. And the more that we are moving through our lives and with vitality, the more that we're able to listen to our heart, where our intuition in that is so dialed in to this oneness of, life, the universe. And this might sound far out for some of you, and that's okay. To each his own, This is a good segue to say that I am going to start recording some solosodes around manifesting and everything in that conversation, because let me tell you something, I've got ridiculous experience in all of that, and it's almost surprising that I haven't really talked about it yet. But yeah, some powerful shit to talk about in that space. But manifesting, which could be not necessarily, we're manifesting all the time, right? So manifestation is not just, oh, I manifested, this money or this opportunity, like some great thing. No, you can manifest some shit that you don't want to happen to you. It's all about where your fucking thoughts are. And it's all about the relationship that you have with yourself, right? So I'll save that for episodes to come, because it's such a big conversation and such a fucking important one. Again, if it doesn't, mean anything to you, I fully respect that. But I do know that to a lot of you in my community that you are, someone, you do respect this idea of, what you are thinking is shaping your reality. So I want to, give you my personal take on that, my wisdom on that, my experience on that. So look out for those episodes. They will be coming up. But back to where I was, when you are operating from more vitality in your life, you are going to be able to tap into your higher self, this higher frequency, your intuition, which is all connected with the fucking universe, right? With source, spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's really the best place to be functioning from, straight up, And the thing is that lifestyle is a real, it's a choice, man. It's a fucking choice. It just is. So many of the pivots that I've made in my own lifestyle, they were all directed from my desire to do so, But again, I feel like the desire has to come from a place of first, like what you believe about yourself, right? So even in the example of me injuring myself, right? And then moving into this really hard phase, a long fucking season, like a decade plus, where I was trying to figure out how to get back into my optimal body composition, right? So like the ratio between muscle and fat, and there's more to it, but that's pretty much, to keep it simple. And I did all these things. And then at the same time, I'm in my 20s and I'm, traveling the world and experiencing other things and, not sleeping optimally. It was just a different time of my life, right? But, it really was a situation where I know I learned the difference between when you are feeling truly in a state of health and vitality and like operating from that place, versus when you're not, like the difference of how you move and you act, dependent on where your health is, where your vitality is. But what I was going to say, because I just caught that I went like this, is that for me in those moments, where it could have just been so easy for me to just settle, for me to be like, well, here I am. This is me now. Why didn't I? Because it's not what I believed about it myself. I fucking knew. I'm like, no, you're an athlete. I'm an athlete. I identify myself with being an athlete. And yes, my younger years, I was a competitive athlete, but now it's just lifestyle, right? But I also saw myself as, just like I had a relationship with greatness, right? Just meaning like greatness as in you are here to express your fullest potential. And that potential is always evolving, right? Expanding, but it's up to you to expand that. And how are you doing that? Well, you're not doing that from, a lower expression of yourself, a lower frequency of yourself. No, you have to be optimized. You have to be, or that's not even the word, it's more of like vitality, like, and you can fucking feel when someone is really like enriched with vitality. What's so sad is that there's just a lack of that. Like you look around and like a lot of people just don't even have color. I'm not talking about like, your skin tone. I'm talking about like life in the face. And I can see it because health is a big part of my life. It's a part of my business. It's a part of the conversation with me. And if you've been dialed into me for however long, like that it's built into my fucking brand. Of course it is, because I can sit here and talk to you all day long about mindset, but if your body is feeling like shit, your mindset will never, ever function at its high level, at the highest level. It will never, you won't be as creative as you could be. And the list goes on, right? You'll be suppressed, Yeah, so it's just sad because that is the truth, and that's a very big conversation that I'm not going to get into now, but just really observing that like there's just such a lack of vitality, and I don't want that for you. That's why I'm talking about this right now with you. I want you to check in with yourself. I mean, this started with self-bullying, but here we are. We're fucking all over. But all of it is coming back to, let me just anchor us right now. All of it is coming back into you and the relationship that you have with yourself at all times in your life. What are you feeling about yourself? What are these feelings doing for you? What are the behaviors and the actions that you are, active with throughout every day of your life? Like, what are they doing for you? Is it bringing you into a higher state of vitality? Is it disempowering you? Do you have scripts running that are keeping you at a lower frequency? I want you to check in. And again, you might be going through something right now where shit just feels really fucking hard. And, maybe you are at a lower frequency. So I'm going to invite you to do something that tunes you into your body if you are able to, because I understand that some people, you could be injured or have a real issue. Then I would say turn to, meditation and breath work, but even these actions, these practices are still you utilizing your body, right? Not just your mind. Maybe the big takeaway here is to understand that for you to really step into the highest frequency of you, for you to really continually, put yourself in this place where you are, living with vitality, is for you to realize and to nourish and to fortify this relationship between your mind and your heart, your physical body, like this whole experience that is you, mind, heart, soul, body. One fucking thing, one powerful thing when it's all working in harmony. If you have a great mind, but your body feels like shit, well, I'm going to tell you right now, again, your mind is not as great as it could be, And if you're just focused just on body, but you're not doing things that really help you to live from your heart and, expand your mind, well, that's also not going to give you the greatest experience of yourself that you could actually be experiencing in your life. So I'm going to pause there and just let you take in, maybe play back some of what I shared, because it was a lot. And it was a lot of important information. Again, I will come on and probably the next go round of Solosodes will be about manifesting and things related to that, because it's so important. And actually, I think it will be a great way to wrap up the year, to set you up strongly for 2023, to really step into this relationship with yourself, your thoughts, understanding that your thoughts are creative seeds, that your reality is in fact being shaped by your self-identity, what you believe about yourself, right? So I'll make that happen in the next go round of Solosodes. But, hopefully this episode will do a couple things for you. Just, first of all, have you check in with your body, check in with your heart, check in with your mind. Is there anything in there that's bullying you, that's not feeling right? Is the harmony button going off? And if so, what could you do right now to support yourself to get back into a state of harmony, or at least as close to it as you possibly can. If you don't have physical restrictions, right? So you're healthy and your body, all parts can move, go do something physical, if that is you. And if it is like, you're not able to do that, journal, breath work, meditate. These are truly gold. They're fucking so potent. They're so powerful. And I can't speak about what they do enough, like how the compounding effect of just development support, how they really help you to live a self-actualized life. Like I can't. So I'll just keep talking about them in episodes, but you can definitely tune in to, these practices, make them a ritual. This whole experience that you're living is the experience of you. That's why one of my quotes is, you are the life you are living. You are the life you are living. When you hear it fast, it's like, oh yeah, no, fucking hear it slow and think about it. Feel into that. Whatever you are and the relationship that you have with yourself and your body and your physical is the outward expression of your life. You are you pushed out, right? So your reality, everything that you're facing and experiencing is what's happening in here. So, we want to be in our highest state here as much as we can be to have the highest experience out here. That's it. Now I'm going to do something I've never done on the podcast because I just feel like doing it. I'm going to, maybe I'll do it more. If this is fun for you, let me know in the comments in YouTube, please. I'm going to read you an oracle card because I just feel like doing it. Listen, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I have said it several times. I am a fucking mystical woman. My whole life, I've always been this way, right? So I have a lot of fun. Really it's just tapped into my intuition and that connection with the universe. It's pretty simple, actually. But I do have some practices that, really evoke more of the mysticism, And so, I don't know, oracle cards are fun for me. I just thought that I would come on and offer you a reading and take what you want from it and we'll go from there. Okay. I'm gonna... How does that sound, Scott? Okay, so what's the message from my incredible community today? What do you got? Let's see if something flies out. What's the most, this is so fucking perfect. So it flipped, right? So when a card flies out or flips, I know that that's literally, you guys, tenderness, okay? True love and compassion. If you've been dialed in, and if you haven't, be ready. But I always say self-compassion is a high performance tool. Why? It's actually in that BBB Insider because it gives you space to be human. It allows you to continually learn. If we're judging, we can't learn. And self-judgment is the more common route than to be curious and to allow yourself to just investigate and decide what needs to stay, what needs to go, what needs to be turned on, what needs to be turned off, like any and all of that, right? Compassion. We're all just doing our best. So I fucking love that we just pulled this card. Me and my highest self. So let's read you tenderness, true love, and compassion. This card foretells the coming of new and increasing love in your life. Hey. It may seem to arise from out of the blue, or it may be a relationship that has been developing for quite some time. Either way, feelings of tenderness as portrayed in this sweet kiss will be soon intensifying. That's beautiful. The brilliant gold that suffices? have to learn that word. This tender moment indicates a purity in the connection being forged, radiating the sense of deep heart-to-heart bond. It may even be a karmic calling, a relationship that extends from lifetime to lifetime. Because of this great height, the giraffe has an advantage over other animals. That is the ability to see far more into the distance. The message here is to be honest about your perspective on love. Be sure not to limit your view of your deserving or of your future potential. Guys, even if you've been hurt in the past or been alone for far too long, true love is on the horizon. Remember that the tenderness you give to yourself will be reflected back to you in this brilliant light and love that the universe will be sending your way. And an affirmation is, I open my heart and my life to true love. I deserve tender kindness from others, and I give it to myself. So perfect. Another episode coming up that you can look forward to. I'm going to really dive into masculine and feminine energies. This is a very important conversation for me. It's built into my brand, just deep, like naturally. But it's also something that I coach on, and it's important. And, this ritual, using the Oracle card is really a feminine expression. It's just so nourishing. It's so fun. I hope that, that card, I don't know, I hope that it really hit home in a way that really services you at a high level. I think, one thing to make this very universal, the pull of this card, is to say that, you being open to being more tender and compassionate and loving to yourself will only serve you in your life. Because again, your reality is you pushed out. So the more that you are operating with love, with compassion, really like revering yourself, loving yourself. I have so many different terms of endearment for myself, one of which is my love. And it's so interesting because, people trip out, not totally, because a lot of people who hear these things about me know me, so they're kind of used to it by now. But, when I'm in the fucking thick of beast mode training, whatever that is, the conversation that I have with my out loud is my love, let's go. You fucking got this, my love, right? But that's usually a term of endearment that we don't give to ourselves. Like we need to hear it from somebody else. Listen, I love hearing it from my, romantic partner, but it's not reserved for that individual. It's coming from me first because I actually really feel that for myself, my love, right? So whatever, everyone's in a different situation with, their romantic life, but what I want to offer from this reading, from this card, is to just love yourself more, to be more open. In that energetic check-in, where can you find anywhere where you are not loving yourself? Where you're not holding compassion for yourself, where you're not, being as tender as you could be. And then go to the mirror and give yourself a fucking kiss. So that's what I got for you. I love you guys. I hope that this was fun. Honestly, if you love the reading, let me know, or any aspect of this episode, let me know. YouTube comments. It's a great community being built there more and more, and I'm so stoked on that. But you could drop it in Instagram. You can leave me a DM privately. Share this up on your Instagram stories. It means so much to me to be just connecting with you guys. And again, I'm doing a lot more solo-sodes, which I know a lot of you really love. And that means so much to me too, because I love wrapping out. We got incredible fucking guests. Wait for 2023. Holy shit. It's all just climbing to the next level. But it's also so fun for me to see or to be in the space, just feeling like you're in the room with me and wrapping out, just going on tears, ending up in the weeds, and having really meaningful conversations in the Solosode capacity. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode, you guys. If you loved it, please share it on your social. Throw it up on your Instagram stories and tag me. I'm at Black Belt Beauty. I am also at Roxy Look, RoxyLook. I love connecting with you guys. This is a conversation that I want to just continue growing with you guys. So if you feel inspired, to hit me up, do so in that space. I always enjoy hearing from you. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by rating it and reviewing it via iTunes. It's such supportive help, you guys. It really helps the visibility of this podcast. So I appreciate and thank you in advance for doing that. And on that note, you guys, I'm signing off with all my love and always looking forward to catching you on the next.